Civil society groups have urged Meta's Oversight Board to resign in protest. ARM is reportedly developing its own in-house chip. And Formula E will debut its fast-charging pit stops this weekend. It's Friday, February 14th, and this is Engadget News. Meta's Oversight Board is coming under new pressure to respond to the company's recent policy changes on fact-checking and moderation, which were made without input from the advisory group. A coalition of civil society organizations has published an open letter to the Oversight Board saying the group should resign en masse, as recent developments make it clear that the company has abandoned any pretense of oversight and acts with no regard as to the consequences. The letter, which was first reported by the Washington Post, comes from the Global Coalition for Tech Justice, which is made up of more than 250 human and digital rights advocates, fact-checking organizations, and other civil society groups from around the world. Now, it reads, "A mass resignation would be a historic act of conscience, one that makes clear that Meta's reckless disregard for human rights cannot be excused, ignored, or concealed behind the curtains of an oversight board that has no real power. By stepping down collectively, you would show solidarity with all those communities impacted by Meta's unconscionable actions, increase public pressure on Meta, and demonstrate that true accountability cannot exist within a system designed to suppress it." Last month, Mark Zuckerberg announced that Meta would end its long-running fact-checking programs and roll back content moderation standards that protected immigrants and LGBT people on its platform. The Meta CEO, who, upon creating the board, said that Facebook should not make so many important decisions about free expression and safety on our own, reportedly decided to make the changes following a visit with then-President-elect Donald Trump last year, and consulted only a handful of people at Meta. The Oversight Board's co-chair later said that those changes came as a surprise to the group, which was created to help shape platform-wide policy, but was not consulted ahead of time in this instance. UK-based chip designer ARM plans to unveil its own processor this year with Meta as the launch customer. That's according to a report by the Financial Times. The chip would be a CPU designed for servers in data centers and would have the potential to be customized for clients. Manufacturing would be outsourced to a contract fab plant like Taiwan Semiconductor, and the first in-house chip could be revealed as early as this summer. Last month, ARM parent SoftBank announced the Stargate project, a partnership with OpenAI to build up to $500 billion worth of AI infrastructure. ARM, along with Microsoft and NVIDIA, is a key technology partner for the project. ARM's chip could now play a role in that project, and also in Johnny Ive's mysterious AI-powered personal device, reportedly being developed in collaboration with OpenAI's Sam Altman. ARM's designs power nearly every smartphone and mobile device in the world, along with Apple Mac and Qualcomm-powered Windows PCs. They generally use less power for the same level of compute as Intel and AMD chips, so they've become desirable for data farms that power AI applications as well. Now, the move would put ARM in direct competition with many of its own customers, like NVIDIA, which manufactures its own ARM-based server CPUs. To date, ARM has never made its own chips. Instead, it licenses its technology and patents to major companies like Apple. Those companies then customize the designs for their own needs and use a contract manufacturer like TSMC or Samsung to build the chips. Now, ARM is currently embroiled in a testy legal battle with Qualcomm over licensing terms. Meanwhile, parent SoftBank is reportedly close to purchasing Ampere, a server chip designer. Now, that deal would be central to ARM's own chip-making project. After announcing initial plans 2 years ago, Formula E is finally ready to deploy its fast-charging pit stops in an official race. At the Jeddah E-Prix in Saudi Arabia this weekend, the all-electric series will debut Pit Boost, a mandatory 34-second stop that will add 10% additional energy via a 30-second charge. No more than 2 crew members can work on the car during this process, with a third dedicated to stopping and releasing the car with visual cues to the driver. Now, Formula E has not had pit stops in 7 years. Now, back in those days, drivers had to swap cars during races to make it to the end of an E-Prix. EV battery technology has advanced to the point now that the awkward change is no longer needed. In the seasons since, a mid-race pit stop was only done to change a flat tire or fix damage to the body. It typically doomed any chance of a decent finishing position. This season was the debut of the Gen 3 Evo car for the series, an updated racer with more power and all-wheel drive. The new EV has already made for a more entertaining E-Prix, including Jaguar's Mitch Evans winning from a back-of-the-grid position in Sao Paulo. Thanks for listening. There's more to these stories and more tech news at Engadget.com. This episode featured journalism from Carissa Bell, Steve Dent, and Billy Steele, and was voiced and produced from the sound studios of Spoken Layer. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll be back on Monday with more tech news from Engadget.